Hey there. This video is the third video in a series. The first one I showed you how to test for multiple versions of yeses and nos. Second one I showed you how to create or show a question and how to get the user's response. This video I'm going to show you how to test that user's response for multiple conditions and how to keep a running tally of the number correct, because for this program you have to keep account of how many questions the user gets correct, and then you are to display the results at the end of the quiz. Okay, so if I enter in 3 here, that is the correct answer, I gotta say, hey, that's correct. And then I gotta display question number 2. If it's wrong, I gotta display that's incorrect, and then display question number 2. So let's get started here. Set my timer for 5 minutes. Alrighty, get my PyCharm. So here I'm from video 2. I showed you how to show the question. I showed plan A. My model is asking, do you want to hang out? And if they say yes, I say great, let's make a plan. I show them plan A, it's actually a question. We can hike at one of the following places, and they are to choose which one. Alrighty, so I'm going to take out the print statement. The print statements are only for testing purposes. I have user's response saved. Here's me displaying the question using input, and I store the response here. So in video 1 I showed you multiple ways of doing it, using the logical or using the list. So you can go back to video 1 and look at that. I used a if statement, an if-else statement. So I take that user's response and I test it using an or. Here's my if-else. If user response is a B, this is the correct answer for me. The correct answer is deer run. So the correct answer is deer run. I say if user response is lowercase b, uppercase B, or they spell out deer run, all lowercase, or a capital. You can do it this way, or you can use a list like we did in video 1. If this is correct, then I have to keep track of how many answers they got correct, how many questions they got correct. So I need a variable, and I need to add one to it. And I also got to print out awesome. You got to print out correct, well done. You got to give them positive reinforcement. They got the answer correct for that question number 1. I'm typing out awesome. I like deer run too. Okay, now this variable, let's talk about scope. This is the first time I'm using it. This is the first time I'm using it. It only lives in this if block. It only lives on line 26 and 27. And if I make this if block bigger, it only lives in here, in this if block. It's not seen out here in this else block. It's not seen out here. It's not recognized in here. It's not recognized in here. It's not recognized anywhere else. So I got to declare it so it's recognized everywhere. So you go to the top of your program, very top of your program, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to anywhere at the top before your logic starts. It could be on line 2 or here, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go ahead and create that variable, and I'm going to initialize it to 0. Now the variable is recognized everywhere. It's recognized in here if I need to use it and reference it. It's recognized in there. It's recognized in here as well. It's recognized in here if I need it. It's also recognized in here. So again, when you create a program, the first things you do is you create your variables that you need. Initialize them to 0 if they're numbers. If they're strings, initialize them to empty string, empty set of quotation marks. So that way they're recognized everywhere. Later on, when you get more practice, and understanding the scope of a variable, you can create variables inside if blocks if you know that you only need it inside that if block. Well, this variable is going to be needed for the other questions as well, question 2 and question 3 as well. And at the very end, I got an output. You got num correct out of 3. Excuse me. So here I am adding 1 to it. Right now it has 0. And I'm adding 1 to 0. 1 plus 0 is 1, and that gets overwritten and put back into this variable, the same variable. And then output, awesome, I like deer run too. Else, okay, I say no problem. Now on to plan B. For you, you're supposed to say else, incorrect. And then show question number 2. When you show question number 2, you can just copy and paste. Up. That's my timer, 5 minutes are over. When you get to question number 2, you can almost just copy and paste this guy right here and tweak it. You can almost copy and paste all that and tweak it. Okay. But here's me showing question number 2. Goes on to plan B for me. So see how I overwrite the question variable? Just like I've been overwriting user response. I'm just going to use that same variable. And I'm going to use the same variable as well. I'm going to get the user's response as well. I'm just going to model what I did for question number 1. That's all you do, is just model what you did for question number 1. You show the question. I'm showing plan B. You get the user's response. So you show it using an input. You get the user response. And then you test. Now use an if statement. It's really an if else, or to test if user was correct. So it's just another if statement, just like you did before. So see, it's modeling the same steps as question 1. Okay, I'm showing plan B. I get the response for plan B. For me, the right answer for plan B. For you, is question 2. For me, the correct response is C, Mountain Way. So I'm checking for the user entering Mountain Way. If they did, I add 1 to number correct, and then I print awesome, I like Mountain Way too. Else, I print okay, no problem. You are to print else. I'm sorry, you are to say else, and in your print statement you'll say incorrect. And then you show the third question. Okay, you can also increment your num correct using this shorthand form. This is the shorthand form for this. They mean the exact same thing. Num correct plus equals 1 is taking num correct, whatever value is stored in there, adding 1 to it, and then overwriting and storing it into that same variable. Alrighty, so that's how you I forgot how I started this video. How you check the user's response and see if it's correct or not, and how to increment the number correct, how to keep a running tally during runtime. Thank you for listening.